If I asked you what it takes to build wealth, what would you say? Hard work, relentless discipline, the perfect business idea you have been lied to for your entire life? Society teaches you to burn yourself out chasing money. Millions of men work themselves into an early grave and still die broke. The titans of industry knew a secret that the masses refused to believe. They knew that wealth is never chased. Wealth is magnetized. It is the natural byproduct of a mind operating on a specific frequency. You do not get what you want in this life, you get what you are. And until you elevate the energetic signature of your dominant thoughts, no amount of physical labor will make you rich. You are tired in a way that sleep does not fix. Your shoulders are tight, the weight is real, and every morning when you wake up, the heaviness is already sitting on your chest before you even open your eyes. You push through. You smile for them, but inside you are barely holding on. You are carrying a burden that was never meant for your shoulders. You read the books. You set the goals. You put in the hours while the rest of the world sleeps. And yet, the breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. It feels as though you are driving with the emergency brake pulled tight. You wonder if there is something fundamentally wrong with you. Before we dive deeper, I want to plant a seed in your mind. There is something hidden from the public. It is something discovered not in a motivational book, but inside a classified laboratory. It is a biological secret funded by elite billionaires and verified by top-tier neuroscience. It explains something I know you have felt. It explains the frustrating gap between the wealth you visualize and the reality you wake up to. I will reveal exactly what this is before we finish today. But first, you must understand why the financial deck was stacked against you from birth. So hold this question in your mind. What if your struggle to attract abundance is not a lack of hustle, but a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on? There is a specific kind of stuck that you know all too well. I am here to tell you that this is not a lack of effort. You do not have a motivation problem. You have a programming problem. Deep within the architecture of your subconscious mind, there is an outdated script running on a loop. It is a quiet destroyer of dreams. It is quietly sabotaging every conscious step you take toward wealth and peace. Until you rewrite that script, every empire you try to build will collapse under the weight of unseen fears. The world is full of men who wish for wealth. They hope for success. They beg for a lucky break. But the universe does not respond to beggars. It responds to commanders. Here is the brutal truth the elite do not want you to know. The reason the universe responds to the 1% and leaves the rest of the world struggling is not because they work harder than you. It is entirely biological. Deep inside your brain is a tiny walnut-sized region called the hippocampus. In the insanely wealthy, this region is thick and highly developed. It is constantly broadcasting a microscopic frequency that literally pulls money and opportunities toward them like a vacuum. But for the average person, the reality is much darker. Because you were not born into an 8-figure family, you inherited a biological disadvantage. Science calls it a shrunken hippocampus. Instead of broadcasting a wealth frequency, your brain is trapped broadcasting a survival wave. And the modern world is designed to keep it exactly that way. Every time you stress over bills, this tiny region shrinks a little more. Your natural ability to attract abundance is pushed deeper into dormancy. This is why you can read every self-help book and practice the law of attraction for years with zero results. You are trying to manifest wealth while your internal receiver is completely powered down. You end up chasing money endlessly. Meanwhile, the elite simply let it flow to them effortlessly. It is a biological block passed down from generation to generation. It is quietly sabotaging your highest potential every single day. Most people will go to their graves believing they just did not work hard enough. You are not most people. And remember the question I asked you to hold a few minutes ago. The one about whether your struggle was just a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on. You are about to see that the answer is not only scientifically proven, but closer than you imagine. The elite built a system that profits from your exhaustion. They feed you the illusion of the hustle culture. They tell you to wake up earlier. They tell you to grind harder. They demand that you sacrifice your health, your peace, and your family for a paycheck that barely covers your survival. And while you are bleeding your energy dry, they are resting in luxury. They are not smarter than you. They are biologically aligned. They simply operate on a different biological frequency. When your hippocampus is shrunken, your brain is flooded with cortisol. You are trapped in a survival state. Every decision is driven by fear. Every financial choice is made from a place of scarcity. You cannot see the massive opportunities that are circling right above your head. The wealth is there, but your receiver is completely broken. Let us be completely honest with each other. You have felt this disconnect for years. You look around at your friends and colleagues. They seem content with the scraps society throws at them. They are drifters. They accept their fate without question. But you feel a burning sensation in your chest. You know you were meant for more. You know you carry the blueprint of a builder, a creator of empires. Yet the physical reality does not match the internal vision. This cognitive dissonance is slowly tearing you apart. It makes you doubt your own sanity. You wonder if your massive dreams are just childish delusions. I am speaking directly to that doubt right now. Your dreams are not delusions. They are suppressed memories of your true biological capability. The gap between your current bank account and the life of the 1% is just a sleeping piece of anatomy. Let us look at the architecture of your reality. The universe works by law, not by clock. You have been taught to measure success by the hours you work, but time is merely an illusion created for the drifter. The creator understands that reality is bent by frequency, and because of this profound understanding, he absolutely refuses to trade his precious time for pennies. The drifter believes that wealth is a physical object to be hunted. He runs frantically in circles. He exhausts his body trying to capture it. But the sovereign commander knows the truth about how the universe actually operates. Wealth is an energetic harvest where every thought is a seed and every action is water. And your reality is the inevitable harvest of that mental soil. Long before modern science could scan the brain, the greatest builders in history understood this invisible law. Let us look to the example of Andrew Carnegie. He was a man who started with absolutely nothing. He had no formal education and zero financial backing, yet he built the largest steel empire the world had ever seen. How did a man with no resources command such immense power? It was not luck. It was not a relentless hustle. Carnegie mastered the art of mental withdrawal. While other men panicked during economic storms, Carnegie retreated into absolute silence. He deliberately shifted his brain away from the survival wave because he knew fear would destroy him. Now consider Thomas Edison. Most people believe Edison succeeded purely through endless trial and error. They praise his grueling work ethic and sleepless nights. But his true mechanism was entirely different. Edison relied heavily on a specific state of quiet energy, and he referred to this space as the twilight state of the mind. When faced with an impossible problem, Edison did not force a solution. He would sit in a chair and hold brass balls in his hands. As he drifted toward sleep, his brainwave frequency would drop. He would enter that magical space between waking and dreaming. In that beautiful stillness, the universe handed him the exact answers he was looking for. The moment he fell completely asleep, the balls would drop. The loud noise would wake him up instantly. He would immediately write down the brilliant ideas that had flooded his mind. Edison was literally downloading wealth and innovation from the universe. He bypassed his conscious doubts and tapped directly into the frequency of pure creation. Henry Ford operated on the exact same hidden law. Ford was constantly mocked by the intellectual elite. They called him uneducated and ignorant, but Ford did not care about academic degrees. He knew that formal education often traps a man in rigid thinking, so he surrounded himself with a mastermind group to amplify his frequency. Ford understood that when two or more minds connect in perfect harmony, they create a third invisible force. This mastermind acts as a massive biological receiver. It pulls in opportunities that a single mind could never attract. Ford used this quiet energy to build an industry that changed the entire world forever. Carnegie, Edison, and Ford were not superhuman. They were ordinary men who stumbled upon an extraordinary protocol. They discovered how to shut off the noise of the external world. They forced their brains out of the frantic survival mode that traps the masses, and they became magnetic forces in a world of struggling drifters. You have been operating in reverse for your entire life. You use your physical body to solve energetic problems. You exhaust your muscles and your conscious mind while your subconscious receiver is turned off. It is like trying to hear a radio station when the volume is muted. No amount of screaming will fix the broken signal. This is the missing chapter in every manifestation book you have ever read. They tell you to visualize your desires. They tell you to write down your goals 50 times a day. But if your internal frequency is broadcasting fear, your affirmations mean absolutely nothing. You cannot lie to the energetic fabric of reality. The universe does not listen to your words. It listens to your frequency. And right now, the frequency you are emitting is one of desperate survival. You are constantly broadcasting a signal of lack and exhaustion. The universe receives this anxious signal and dutifully delivers more struggle right to your front door. This is not a character flaw on your part. You were trained to operate this way by a society that needs obedient workers. The elites want you tired. They want you stressed about the next bill. A man who is fighting for his survival does not have the energy to build an empire, so he is easily controlled. But you are the architect of your destiny. The Creator does not accept the reality handed to him by society. He bends reality to his will. He understands that the invisible world of thought always precedes the visible world of matter. If you want to change the fruits, you must first change the unseen roots of your mind. To execute this law effectively, you must master the art of stillness. You must learn to silence the chaotic noise of the world. When the drifter faces a crisis, he panics and acts recklessly. When the sovereign commander faces a crisis, he retreats into his mind and stabilizes his frequency before he ever moves a muscle. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is the most powerful action a man can take. It is the deliberate alignment of your internal receiver with the frequency of abundance. When you achieve this state, the ideas that come to you are not ordinary thoughts. They are divine instructions that serve as the blueprints for generational wealth. Look at the people who work the hardest in our society. The laborers and the factory workers are good people, but they are often the poorest. If hard work were the secret to wealth, they would all be billionaires. The truth is entirely different, because the men who make the most money do the least physical labor. They are paid for their frequency. They are paid for their ability to hold a vision and attract the right resources. They are mental gatekeepers. They fiercely protect their minds from the infection of negativity and doubt. They know that a single fearful thought can collapse a massive empire before it is even built. These historical titans discovered this biological cheat code through trial and error. They did not have brain scans. They did not understand the microscopic anatomy of the hippocampus. They only knew that when they achieved a specific state of quiet energy, the world bowed to their desires. We no longer have to guess how they did it. We no longer have to guess how the titans of history achieved their greatness. Modern science has finally caught up with ancient wisdom. We now have the clinical brain scans to prove exactly what happens inside the mind of a billionaire. It all comes down to a tiny structure deep inside your brain. This region is the absolute core of human creation. Deep in the center of your neurological architecture lies a small region called the hippocampus. For decades, scientists believed this area was only responsible for memory and basic learning. They were completely wrong. The hippocampus is actually a 250 million-year-old biological receiver. It is the exact mechanism that governs your energetic frequency. When clinical researchers scanned the brains of the incredibly wealthy, they made a shocking discovery. The elite 1% possess a thick and highly developed hippocampus. Because their hippocampus is so massive, Their brains easily broadcast a powerful wave of abundance. They naturally operate on a frequency that magnetizes money and high-level opportunities straight into their reality. But what happens when researchers scan the brain of an average man? The results are terrifying. Because you were not born into generational wealth, you inherited a biological disadvantage. You possess what neuroscience calls a shrunken hippocampus. Your biological receiver is literally too small to broadcast the frequency of wealth. It is trapped in a permanent state of survival. Before we go any further, I have to share a breakthrough that changes everything. It is something the elite billionaires have spent vast fortunes to keep hidden from the public. A rogue neuroscientist, formerly working on classified CIA experiments, recently leaked a shocking discovery. He and a team of top-tier researchers found a way to wake up that dormant wealth frequency. They discovered a way to rapidly reverse the effects of a shrunken hippocampus, and they did not do it through decades of exhausting meditation or waking up at 4 in the morning to force a hustle mindset. They discovered something infinitely simpler and far more powerful. They engineered a precise 7-minute sound frequency capable of expanding this brain region. When listened to, this specific acoustic wave bypasses your conscious mind. It directly stimulates that tiny ancient region of your brain. 4 independent neuroscience labs have already verified this exact phenomenon. Researchers on the campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing this precise brainwave activation right now. It forces the brain to stop broadcasting the survival wave entirely. It immediately flips the switch on your natural biological ability to attract wealth. It is a completely effortless ritual that you can perform in your own home. Just 7 minutes a day is all it takes, and the energetic shift begins the very first time you listen. I will tell you exactly what this is called and how you can access this frequency for yourself before this message ends. But first, there is one final piece of the puzzle you must understand about your own mind. You must understand the exact brainwave state this frequency creates. Neuroscience calls it the theta state. The theta brainwave is the twilight zone of human consciousness. It is the exact frequency Thomas Edison accessed when he sat with his brass balls in the quiet dark. When your brain slows down into the theta state, the conscious mind is completely bypassed. The conscious mind is filled with doubt and fear and endless analytical noise. It is the part of you that worries about paying the rent. But when the theta wave dominates, you connect directly to the infinite intelligence of the universe. You become a pure vessel for creation. A highly developed hippocampus is the only way to sustain this theta frequency in your daily life. When your hippocampus is thick, you do not have to meditate for hours to find peace. You walk through the world with an unshakable calmness. The chaotic noise of the economy and the panic of the masses simply bounce off your mental shield. You become utterly untouchable. But a shrunken hippocampus blocks the theta wave entirely. Instead of theta, your brain produces erratic beta waves. Beta is the frequency of panic and physical hustle. It is the frequency of a drifter who reacts to every minor inconvenience with massive emotional distress. You cannot attract $1 million while your brain is vibrating with the anxiety of a $10 bill. Society is deliberately designed to keep you trapped in the chaotic beta state. Every news alert on your phone is engineered to spike your cortisol. Every political argument is crafted to keep your nervous system in a state of frantic alarm. Cortisol is the absolute enemy of the hippocampus. Every time you consume fear, your hippocampus shrinks a little more. They feed you a constant diet of crisis so that your biological receiver remains permanently damaged. They know that a man in a state of fear is a man who can be easily controlled. He will work 60 hours a week for a miserable wage because his shrunken brain tells him that survival is his only option. He completely forgets that he was born to be a creator. This is why your positive affirmations feel like a massive lie when you say them out loud. You look in the mirror and declare that you are a magnet for immense wealth, but your heart is racing and your stomach is tied in knots. Your shrunken hippocampus is screaming that you are in danger. The universe ignores your words and responds directly to the panic in your biology. Now you understand the mechanical truth behind your invisible struggles. The drifter hears this science and uses it as another excuse to complain about his life. The drifter loves to play the victim of his own biology. But the sovereign commander hears this and feels a massive surge of power. He realizes that if the problem is mechanical, then the solution is simply a matter of repair. You are the mental gatekeeper of your reality. You now hold the knowledge that elite billionaires tried desperately to hide from you. You know that your wealth is directly tied to the physical size of your hippocampus. The burden of ignorance has been lifted from your shoulders forever. Now you bear the heavy responsibility of taking absolute control over your neurological architecture. Stop what you are doing and listen, truly listen, because the knowledge you just gained requires immediate action. You cannot build a massive empire on a foundation of mental trash. Your mind is currently filled with decades of corrupted programming. And until you take complete responsibility and clear out this psychological garbage, the new frequency of massive abundance can absolutely never take root in your life. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor. It builds exactly what you instruct it to build right before you go to sleep. If you continuously feed it fear and chaos from the external world, it will dutifully construct a physical reality of endless poverty and suffering for you. You must become completely ruthless with what you allow into your mind. This is the sacred practice of cosmic housekeeping. It is the absolute law of elimination. The drifter consumes every piece of negative news that flashes across his screen. He gossips with failures and complains about the unfair economy. He constantly allows the frantic external world to dictate his internal vibration, leaving him entirely powerless to shape his own destiny. The Creator operates on a completely different level. He guards his mental gates with lethal precision. He knows that his focus is his most valuable currency. You must cut the cord to the endless cycle of societal panic. Turn off the news broadcasts that exist only to shrink your hippocampus. You must permanently disconnect from the toxic individuals who constantly drain your vital energy, because their survival frequency is highly contagious and incredibly dangerous to your future. They will call you arrogant. They will say you have changed and that you are losing your mind. But here is the profound truth no one tells you. You are not losing your mind at all. You are simply losing your old programming. The exhaustion you feel right now is actually a magnificent sign of evolution. Your body is physically resisting the death of your former identity. The drifter within you is fighting for survival. You must let that weak version of yourself die completely tonight. Cosmic housekeeping is not a polite suggestion. It is a biological necessity for anyone who demands wealth. When you eliminate the chaotic noise, you create a massive void inside your psychological architecture. The universe despises a vacuum. When you empty your mind of fear, the universe rushes in to fill that space with pure abundance and divine instruction. This brings us to the most critical ritual of your entire day. It is the 15 minutes right before you close your eyes at night. This is the twilight zone of your mind. It is the exact moment when your conscious defenses finally collapse. What you do in these 15 minutes will dictate the financial reality you wake up to tomorrow morning. Most men spend this time scrolling through endless digital garbage. They mindlessly absorb the failures and the deep anxieties of millions of strangers, and they hand their subconscious mind a permanent blueprint of absolute disaster. You will never do this again. From this night forward, you will treat the 15 minutes before sleep as a deeply sacred tradition. You will protect it fiercely. You must sit in total silence. You will shut off every screen and disconnect from the physical world. You must act as if the wealth you desire is already sitting in your bank account. This is a highly deliberate command given directly to your biological receiver, and you are giving your hippocampus the exact coordinates of your new wealthy reality. You will breathe deeply and demand absolute stillness from your body. You will not entertain a single thought of lack or limitation. If a fearful thought enters your mental temple, you will evict it immediately. You are the sovereign commander of your mind. You absolutely do not negotiate with random thoughts that weaken your frequency, because you must cast them out immediately and replace them with unshakable certainty. The physical world will try to pull you back into the dirt. Your bank account might currently read zero. Your bills might be piling up on the kitchen counter. The drifter looks at these physical facts and panics. The creator looks at these physical facts and smiles. He understands perfectly well that his current circumstances are merely the delayed echoes of his old programming, and they hold zero power over his bright future. You must act exactly like a wealthy man, even while you are surrounded by poverty. Walk with the posture of a titan. Speak with the quiet authority of a king. When you hold this arrogant frequency, the universe has absolutely no choice but to bend the material world to match it. This is the law of vibration in its purest and most aggressive form. This daily ritual is how you prepare the soil of your mind. You are ripping out the toxic weeds of societal conditioning. You are cleaning the mental receiver so it can finally catch the billionaire frequency. It requires you to permanently stop playing the victim and take absolute, ruthless responsibility for every single thought that you allow to grow inside your head. What is controlling your mind today? Is it the fear of failure? Is it the resentment toward people who have wronged you in the past? You must drop all of it right now. Resentment is a parasite that feeds on your hippocampus. You simply cannot hold on to your bitter anger and expect to attract millions of dollars at the exact same time, because those two frequencies are fundamentally incompatible. You must make a choice between your comfortable excuses and your future empire. You cannot keep both. The masses fiercely protect their comfortable excuses because it completely absolves them of the heavy, demanding burden of stepping into their true greatness. But greatness is the only path that leads to true freedom. You are standing at the edge of a massive psychological cliff. The wind is howling and the drop is terrifying. The preparation phase is now officially complete. You know the biological mechanism that has been holding you back. You know the exact ritual required to sweep the mental temple clean. You have eliminated the toxic noise of the world. Your mind is finally quiet. Your biological receiver is primed and ready to receive the ultimate activation code. The question is no longer whether this ancient law works. The science is settled and the historical proof is undeniable. The only remaining question is whether you have the courage to actually use it. Because the final step of this mechanism will require you to burn your old identity to the ground, and you must step completely into the fire of absolute transformation. The time for aimless drifting is officially over. You have finally heard the absolute law of the universe. You now know that every excuse you have ever made was nothing but a shadow, and your previous failures were simply the result of a broken biological receiver. The drifter will hear this and do absolutely nothing. He will return to his invisible prison of endless exhaustion, but the Creator will equip himself with every tool available to secure his massive empire. The question I asked you to hold earlier is finally answered. Your financial struggle is not a lack of hustle. It is simply a dormant frequency waiting to be activated. A microscopic wealth attraction frequency is naturally active in the 1%. And it is driven entirely by a highly developed region of the brain called the hippocampus. Classified CIA, research recently confirmed this hidden truth. 4 independent neuroscience laboratories have successfully verified it. Researchers on the campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing it right now. Dr. Thomas Summers is a rogue neuroscientist who formerly worked on these top-secret experiments. He refused to let elite billionaires keep this biological cheat code hidden from the hard-working middle class. He and his massive team spent years compressing the clinical protocol into a simple audio track because they wanted every single person to have access to this profound awakening. The results they witnessed have been absolutely staggering. Before I reveal what they built, let me tell you about 2 people. Emma was a former nurse living in California. She felt her family was under a permanent financial curse. She was completely exhausted and drowning in massive debt. After just 3 days of listening to this precise frequency, she broke the cycle completely and sold her house for way over the initial asking price. She finally claimed her true biological power today. She now travels the world on passive income. She shares this pure abundance with her lovely children. Michael was a former policeman living in Florida. He started using the protocol to scale his struggling business, and within 5 short days, he successfully quadrupled his roster of high-paying clients. He quickly found himself networking with extremely powerful elites. These wealthy men actually put him on national television. That rapid transformation is because of what Dr. Summers and his researchers discovered. They officially call this tool the billionaire brainwave. It is certainly not a generic motivation tape. It is a highly engineered 7-minute binaural sound wave designed to directly stimulate your hippocampus and pull it completely out of its long dormancy. That is the entirety of the effort required from you. Your massive daily struggle finally ends right here. You listen for 7 minutes in the morning with your headphones on. You absolutely do not write in a journal. You do not repeat those forced positive affirmations. You simply let the precise frequency rewire your brain to receive massive wealth while you relax and enjoy your morning cup of coffee in total peace. The billionaire brainwave is absolutely not for everyone. It is strictly reserved for the true mental gatekeeper. If your spirit confirms this is for you, the path is ready. Private clinical sessions to reverse a shrunken hippocampus cost thousands of dollars. To access this exact frequency, elite billionaires invest massive fortunes. But this exact neurological shift is available to you today for a tiny fraction of its true value because you deserve to claim your massive biological inheritance. It costs less than a few cups of coffee. 4 powerful bonuses are included to support your new reality. You receive a wealth management guide called the Warren Buffett Pyramid. You also get a breakdown of 7 lazy millionaire habits. They included an emergency quick cash manifestation audio and an inspiring collection of 500 billionaire success stories to keep your mind firmly anchored in pure abundance. These specific tools will fiercely protect your new frequency. Here is the absolute deeper truth about waiting. The immense wealth and opportunities you have been praying for are already circling you. The massive blessing is not missing at all. Your biological receiver is simply broken, and the chosen one who restores their frequency today finally sees the massive financial windfalls that were always waiting. Delaying means letting your inheritance remain totally invisible. Do not look for this tool on YouTube or Spotify. The tracks circulating under similar names on those platforms have zero binaural entrainment technology encoded. They are dangerous fakes meant to completely distract you. The only authentic version is available through the official link, and you will find that secure portal in the description and in the pinned comment below this video. You must protect your mind from those cheap imitations. This protocol comes with the billionaire's ironclad promise. The universe requires absolutely no financial risk from you. If you do not experience a physical and undeniable increase in your wealth, every single penny is returned without any questions asked. It is an energetic exchange governed by complete trust. Click the link in the description to equip your mind. You must take this action right now. The tool does not replace your massive ambition. It simply repairs your biological receiver so the wealth you visualize can finally materialize. Massive abundance is your absolute and undeniable birthright. The universe requires no transaction for you to deserve it, and what the researchers built is just one powerful accelerator to help you along the journey. Whether you choose that path or not, the message continues. You must say to yourself that the old chapter is finally over. You will tolerate absolutely no more small thinking, no more playing the pathetic victim of circumstances. That weak version of you dies tonight, and a new aggressive chapter begins with a firm decision to step into the absolute power of the sovereign commander. You are the ultimate master of your fate. If your intuition confirms that the frequency tool described earlier is the missing key to your abundance, the path remains open in the description below. That is the final time I will mention it. What remains now is your ultimate internal transformation. The world is waiting for a highly disciplined thinker. You must rise up to meet this great occasion. The universe is waiting for a conscious creator who has finally chosen to walk in true power. That man is already resting inside of you. It is time to wake him up and take dominion over your reality. Will you be remembered as the man who allowed doubt to define him? Or will you be the architect who looked fear in the face and said, "Not today"? This massive choice is now entirely yours to make. Write your definite purpose in the comments below. Let those specific words be the sacred contract you sign with the universe. Subscribe to this channel if you walk this glorious path of true greatness. Return to this powerful lesson every single night until your new reality completely bends to your will, because repetition is the only way to reprogram your brilliant mind. Your new life as a true titan begins in this exact moment.